How are you?
Good.
What a
Really
great
good.
space.
Yeah, great space.
Okay, come on in, have a seat. Da 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 da. Can you check this out? Gotta
Yeah.
make sure I'm not covering it, all the important parts.
Yeah, exactly.
So my name's Liza Rogers and I'm the founder of WREN, the Women's Real Estate Network, and I'm super excited to be in Toronto with one of my new friends, Lesli Gaynor, who has created this amazing co-ownership book.
I don't know. I'm kind of looking at
I mean, this thing
everything you need to know about co-ownership and more, and we're afraid to ask.
It is absolutely amazing. And of course, sitting next to Lesli, you probably recognize this lovely face, Alisa Choi. So Alisa, of course, is at Nemo's Co-Living, and we've been having a conversation about co-ownership, co-living, traveling, remote working. We looked at a property this morning, and we're just super excited. So Lesli, you've got this awesome Forest Hill real estate company here. You're passionate about co-ownership, and you're finding tons of women who want to co-own.
Yeah. So I got my real estate license really actually to help people co-buy properties. So I call it cooperative real estate because it means that you have to cooperate to get the property, and then after that you decide how you want to structure it. Most of the people I work with are looking for getting into the market and owning a unit of their own. So I do traditional real estate, but mostly with people who want to co-own, and the demand is growing day by day.
Yeah, I bet it's keeping you very busy.
Keeping me very busy.
Very busy.
Yes.
So we're thrilled to have Lesli join the whole WREN group. GoCo Solutions is what you're teaching your co-ownership out of.
Yes.
And we're really excited to be working with you in the future. And of course, Alisa's just back from her trip to Mexico where she was looking at property for us. Do you want to give us a quick update on that Mexico visit?
Yeah, checking out multifamily residences as well in Mexico, in Puerto Vallarta, Nueva Vallarta. There's lots of opportunity there as well. And of course, the prices aren't as high as in Toronto. But still, you know, the co-ownership opportunity is there because maybe some people don't want to live there full time, right? So to be able to go back and forth from Toronto and Mexico, that would be so ideal.
Right. So it's like creating your ideal lifestyle.
Absolutely.
That's what it is. Yeah. We often say, you know, with the Women's Real Estate Network, we talk about real estate, but it's not really about real estate. It's about building the lifestyle that we all want. And nowadays, you know, we want freedom, we want independence, we want to be able to travel, we want to be able to live that location-independent lifestyle.
Work remotely,
and build our retirement base through real estate investing. So we're working on all of those things, and it seems to be catching on.
And it's been lovely being a member of WREN as well because it's such a wonderful community of women, you know, with great values who are all looking towards the same thing, right?
Right. Well, I'm glad I'm part of it then.
Yeah, we're thrilled to have you on board.
That's great.
And we'll be back out in Toronto in October for the book launch, so stay tuned for that.
Great.
Cool.
Awesome.
Okay, well, welcome to Toronto.
Thanks. I'm thrilled to be here.
Welcome to my office.
Yes, thanks.
That was a great property you showed us today.
Yeah. It's a really great property for co-ownership, which is something I'm very passionate about.
And so are we.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So tell me a little bit about your vision of co-ownership. What does it look like to you?
Well, you know, one of the things that we talk about a lot is, you know, I'm a single woman by choice. I want to travel a lot, and I want to have places in different parts of the world, and now I have this giant family here in Toronto. I want to be here, you know, maybe a couple months a year, and I want to be able to hang out with my girlfriends. So why not own a great property that we can, instead of, you know, renting for 2 months, have as an investment and share and have friends to hang out with. So for me, it's about the sense of community. It's about the ability to make a good investment. And women are living longer. We need to be thinking about these kinds of things.
Absolutely. And the statistics are that women will need to be responsible for their financial future by the age of the average is 56, 54? Yeah. So I know for our market in Toronto, for me, it's so expensive. And one of the ways that you can get into the market, you know, earlier than later is by co-ownership.
So co-ownership provides both community, but it also gives people a leg up in the world of real estate.
Exactly.
And if you have a co-living property right now,
Yes.
and that was based on a desire to help people kind of have a place to live, but also you do shared events. If people do, tell me a little bit about it, because I'm
Exactly. Actually, it was an idea that came out of the pandemic. You know, a lot of people at the start of the pandemic, you can see it all over social media. You know, they were really struggling with isolation and not having the support structure in place, and having a house, a residence where it was community. It was intentional and community, that we could all support each other, and that's why I sought out a house that was able to be community.
Yeah. In my conversations with people, people say, oh, what population is most interested in co-ownership? And given the work that I've been doing, I would say there is no absolute population. You know, young folks who feel like they've been priced out of the market, older folks who are not interested in going into senior care, you know, middle-aged folks who want just more sort of community in their life, and sort of the pandemic did show them. I've got multi-generational families, and I've got people who say, look, I would live with, you know, a young family that had children because it would bring life into my life. You know, so there's no, I don't know if you guys have had the same kinds of conversations, but
Absolutely.
no barriers.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a big part of it is, as we look at the health of people around the world, one of the largest crises that we have is loneliness. And so time and time again, we're seeing countries that are progressive figure out ways to put multi-generational people together and solve that loneliness crisis. I mean, you know, the free housing for students if they live in seniors' home. I think it's in Denmark where they're doing that.
They're doing it in Vancouver, actually.
Yeah.
There was a great CBC story about a young man who kept in touch with the woman he lived with, and she taught him how to cook, and he taught her how to play the piano.
Amazing.
Right?
So, I mean, the benefits of it are just so great. And so there's some stigma with it. I mean, some people think, you know, co-ownership or co-living, you're kind of a frat house or a, you know, or a, but it doesn't have to be. I mean, it's a lifestyle choice, and it can be great for financial reasons. It can be great for community and isolation reasons and health. And
well, as you were saying, you know, the other thing is that people end up being house poor, but they also being house stuck, which is you want to go away for a couple of months. You know, you leave your house unattended and something happens, your insurance doesn't cover that.
Exactly.
Right? Like when you think about seniors who might want to spend 6 months somewhere warm, you know, they have to figure out who's going to look after their property. And in co-ownership, there's so many different agreements you can make, whether that be, you know, dinners on occasion or, you know, card games, just checking on me, just knocking on the door and saying, you know, I haven't seen you today yet. Are you good?
Exactly.
There's so much benefit.
Yeah.
So from your perspective, do you think that there's a real interest from an investor's perspective?
Well, it's interesting because there's a number of different kind of investor educators who are talking about this model as going to be an investment opportunity for the future. There's a number of advocate groups and investor groups who are looking at, you know, how do we take this whole co-ownership idea or co-living or co-housing idea, and apart from the co-ownership of a single family home per se. You know, there's the tiny home villages, there's the prefab villages, there's, you know, having a plot of land and having your own little space and having a communal house. And then in Langley, for example, in BC, there's a group that's doing a stratified condo, but it's set up as a co-ownership model where they have amenities that all of the people that have bought in have had a say in what amenities. So there's a music room, there's a games room, there's a particular style of garden, and so
Ravenwood has done that as well.
A number of different places are taking these models. So for investors, it's becoming something that investors are interested in because it is going to be part of the future.
So that's a return on their money as a result of investing in the property. So they themselves may not be interested in living there or being part of the community, but they see the benefits of investing in properties that are structured in such a way that however you define your community or however you define your co-ownership, they would invest in the bricks and mortar.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, really, around the world, co-living, co-housing is so popular. It's actually only in Canada that it's not mainstream, if you will.
I agree. You know, it's one of the things I always say. It's like co-housing is not a new idea.
No.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, you know, if you talk to many families, that's how they managed to survive. Grandma lived, you know, in one room, and aunts and uncles would come until they got their feet on the, like, you know, it isn't a new concept. I think we became so focused on the single family home, and what success meant was
Yes.
owning that, right? So it's good to know, because with the co-ownership stuff that I do a lot of in the city, you know, the mortgaging of it can be a bit of a difficult
That's
thing.
the tricky
right?
part.
So
We need to get banks on board.
we need to get a lender on board. I don't know if we'll ever get banks on board, but lenders.
trying to be kind.
I know, and I like that. You're an optimist.
I'm an optimist.
Exactly. Right. But I think, you know, again, the message really is to people that we need to find different ways to create housing,
Absolutely.
and secure housing for those who may never have had secure housing,
Absolutely.
and secure housing for those who want to share more than just their home. They want to share part of their life, which is what you're doing so well. So a combination, it's not one solution. It seems to me like there's the solution that you've created, there's the solutions that you're looking at, and the solutions that I'm looking at, and all together we're just going to try and forge ahead and
Exactly.
make co-living, cohabitation, co-ownership, whatever we're
More
going to
mainstream,
More
right?
mainstream.
And you know, help people understand that, you know, we don't all live in a box, right? We've got to be able to, and especially with remote working these days, you know, I mean, we talk about people not having to go back to the office, and so that opens up so much opportunity about where people can live and where you can find big, beautiful homes that can be co-owned and co-shared.
Yeah.
And why not have one? You might be able to have two, right? So co-ownership gives you much more of that ability.
Right.
Yeah.
And flexibility in your ability to choose your lifestyle.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, the opportunity to be able to own more than one property, right? Rather than just one single principal residence, right? And then you have the opportunity to maybe have one property in Mexico, one property in Canada, and to be able to go back and forth, right? I mean, I'm very passionate about diversity, equity, and inclusion. So for people to be able to have affordable housing as well, you know, is a right. And so to be able to have the means to be able to get in and own something, right?
Yeah.
It's probably not in many people's dreams. So you're making dreams happen.
Yeah.
Well,
No.
as you mentioned, a lot of millennials have just given up on the whole idea of ever owning a home,
goodness.
right? And so
Why would you think you
what,
could?
yeah, what we were talking about last night was you just have to find a different way, right? And if you go into a bank and say, hey, can I have a mortgage? And the bank says no, then usually people just say, well, that's it then, I can't ever get a house. But there's so many different ways now, especially with interest rates where they are. It is accessible to access money through private lending or co-ownership or so many different ways. So people just have to learn that there's so many options available to them, and they just have to be willing to explore those options.
Yeah, we talk a lot about that sort of combining and leveraging people's combined assets, which really means their income. And that often puts them in a very different position. And, you know, traditional mortgages will allow most of them up to 4 unrelated human beings on a mortgage. And, you know, if you take 4 incomes, but again, part of it is, as you know, the cost of getting in, right? The land transfer taxes, the down payment. And we've got to change that as well. I mean, it's ridiculous that we're still at, you know, over $1 million. All of a sudden it jumps to $200,000 down payment, whereas, you know, we can't buy anything in the city of Toronto for... Anyways, we all know the legacy of problems, but it's really great to meet 2 fiery women who are as interested in co-ownership as I am.
And it's great to meet you.
Yeah.
You're in the West Coast, so we're gonna like merge.
Exactly.
You know, we just now have to get the heat on the East Coast.
Yeah, exactly.
So we
yeah.
need to find somebody out there who's just as dynamic and who wants to see it happen
Oh,
there.
for sure.
And then we've got Canada covered.
We do. We've got Canada covered, and
I love
yeah,
that.
it's fantastic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well-
Good luck with everything.
Yeah, well, we'll stay in touch.
We're gonna keep
We're
working
gonna,
together.
before you know it,
We're
we
gonna
might
work
have properties
together.
all across Canada that are
Exactly.
co-owned
Yeah.
That's
by
the plan.
powerful women.
Exactly. And really helping women is what I think all of us want to do.
Exactly.
You know, that's our main focus.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, thanks a lot for
Awesome.
coming here.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thanks for hosting
All right.
us.